Hello, we are live. Spice It Up with Sandra is back on track, and I am here with my guest, Fran Garton. Welcome. How are you, girl?
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to be sharing this time with you.
Mm,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you were just sharing with me, you just did a workout. And look at you, you're glowing, you look amazing.
I had to keep up with the 13-year-old girls. So, you can't slack when you're with teenagers, man. They look at everything.
You had to hold it together. That's awesome.
Yeah,
So
super fun.
that's awesome. So Fran is a pain management coach. What is this title all about, Fran? How did you come about being in this field and helping people with pain management?
Okay. So I spent many years suffering with pain. And the most memorable experience that I had was I remember trying to sleep and I would get like shots of electricity going all the way through my arms and legs, like to my fingertips and the tips of my toes, like not kidding at all. It was horrible. And I didn't sleep. It was months. And so my doctor, I have to say my family doctor is amazing. And he was like sending me for all these different tests and they didn't really find a whole lot. They found a bit of arthritis. So I have some osteoarthritis, but there was nothing that was relieving it. Like I could take massive amounts of medication and it just didn't stop. Like it would make me pass out and that was it. So finally I got referred to a rheumatologist and, fibromyalgia, which is the diagnosis that I was given. Sometimes they give that to you because they don't know what else is going on.
Right.
And the thing with that is, they have certain trigger points that are tender points on the body. And some things say there's 9, others say 18. But if you have a certain percentage of them that are classic trigger points, then they identify that as fibromyalgia. It's because they can't find any other source. So I had, X-ray, CT scan, MRIs, like bone density scans, like where they inject the dye, radioactive dye, all that stuff, and nothing came back. There was nothing. So the rheumatologist finally was like, it's classic. Like you have all the classic pinpoints of where the pain happens. So that kind of was my journey sort of to get the diagnosis, which was about 10 years ago.
Right.
And then I found that my flare-ups and dealing with the pain, it was kind of unmanageable. And then I saw a bioenergetic practitioner, Jason Prasad, and he just said to me, you have so much inflammation in your body that you have to change what you eat. Like we have to start from the gut and heal the gut and work inside out. That's how it works. Wow. And I did everything that he said. He gave some supplements. I changed everything that I ate. Yeah. And I stopped taking all of the medication that I was taking. So I was taking an anti-inflammatory and a pain medication and something to help me sleep. And I had heartburn. So I was taking a heartburn pill. And he's like, nothing. You can't, I want you to take nothing because you don't need this. So that being said, yes, some people need a medication and I totally acknowledge that. And even I sometimes take something for pain, but he said, you don't need this. We need to heal your gut and we need to get the inflammation down. And so he, said to me, not only with the food plan that I was following and the supplements that he was giving me, he's like, you cannot exercise. You cannot exercise. Like, so this is my job. Like he goes, you are not allowed to exercise at all.
So you were a trainer already prior to being diagnosed? Okay.
Yes. And so then I was like, okay. And he goes, because your body can't recover. He said, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You have so much inflammation in your body that you can't recover. So if you work out, you're just going to be in more pain because you're just going to be more inflamed. Right. So that's kind of where I got to. And then I realized that there are other people out there that, there are fibromyalgia is different for everybody. And the flare-ups, we have many of the same triggers and we feel the same. I'll put same in quotation marks, right? But we share that similarity. But everybody's journey is different, but I also learned through my journey that healing your gut and looking at what you eat really affects your body.
Huge.
Huge.
A big
And
belief.
yeah, so that's kind of where it was. And so the whole time I was, training and working with clients and trying to navigate all of that. And it's
Right.
just really hard, whether you're running a business or you're working for somebody else. It's really hard to navigate life when you also have this condition that you could have a flare up and you could be like, I could be in bed for like 4 days.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah. So the flare-ups just come about just like, is it pertaining to the weather? Is it pertaining to what's happening emotionally? Like, or is it a combination of everything?
Yes. So flare-ups happen. There are triggers. So food is a trigger. Stress is a trigger. Lack of sleep is a trigger. Yes. Doing too much. So that's the common thing that I talk to people a lot about is you push yourself to do more. And when you push yourself to do more, you haven't set boundaries. And so then you're like, oh, I can just do a little bit more. It'll be fine. Well, it won't be fine. And I'm constantly telling people, and it sounds so drastic when I say it, but I mean it with the best of intention. If you don't take care of yourself and set boundaries and don't push yourself, you are not going to be there for your family and friends who love you.
Percent.
Because you're not going to be able to. So, whether sometimes a little bit, for me, not as much, but for other people, sure. Right. So, but yeah, food and stress and your emotions and those kinds of things, doing too many things and not taking breaks and all of that, really adds up, and it causes the flare-ups to happen.
Well, it's so interesting that you say this. I mean, this is a very common issue, would you say, today? I think more common today than we've heard in the past.
Yes.
And I'm sure that's all brought upon holding stress, the lifestyles that we lead, and people just stay in pain. They tolerate it. They live in toleration. But there's so much more to life. You don't need to be living like this. Like, there are solutions. And I'm a firm believer of the gut. Number one, absolutely. As a wellness advocate, you and I have shared, conversations on that. And the fact is, you don't have to live in pain.
No.
Right. And we need to find the limits. You need to find your balance. You need to know your body and listen to it and stay in tune. And I love what you do. I love how you can help people get through that. Yeah. It's incredible.
Thank you. Yeah. And I mean, and we are in the same area, you and I, like, we are all about wellness and helping people live, amazing lives. And the thing is that I believe that it's very difficult to change things. And it's very difficult when you have, fibromyalgia is a hidden illness. And there are lots of illnesses around conditions that are not visible to people. And when people can't see your illness or whatever the condition is, and that can be like, I have friends that have endometriosis, you can't see that, but it is excruciatingly painful. And it affects you physically, mentally, right? And emotionally. And it's the same with fibro. But the thing is that if we don't talk about it, and if we don't explain to the people that are in our lives what is happening, then they don't understand. And the thing is that it doesn't matter that you can't see how much pain I'm in pain. And whether you see it or not is totally irrelevant. And the thing, I need to take care of me. And I think what sometimes people do, and what you said, is they just tolerate it. And they're like, it's just the way it is. But it's not just the way it is, because there are so many people out there who are not living with pain all the time. There are so many options out there, but that goes, and like you said, with the mind and wellness, that goes with your mindset. So if your mindset is not positioned to look for wellness and look for healing and all these positive things that can move you forward, then you're not going to have it. You're just going to tolerate it, and you're going to live in pain. So there is a huge, I mean, when we talk about it, because you and I are in it, and people we know, we're in the wellness area, we talk about it like, well, just, it's your mindset. And we talk about it like it's no big deal, but it is a big deal. And I think people need to be aware of that, but they also need to recognize that we teach other people about what's going on. So
Yeah.
you don't have fibro. So I have to teach you about it. And so that means that I have to say to you, you know what? I just can't do, we can't go for coffee tonight. I'm sorry, I have to cancel. I don't want to cancel, but I'm in so much pain that if I push through and go out and we have sit for half an hour, tomorrow I could be in bed all day.
Yeah. It's knowing your limits. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And really understanding your body. Sorry, you were saying, now I can't remember. You were talking about, oh, now I forget. I'm having a mind blank. Okay.
It's okay. About tolerating, about teaching people, about talking about
Right.
it.
Sorry.
Yes.
Your mind, that takes practice. So for you and I, it becomes easy because we've done the work, we've done the practice, right? We've learned about it. So that's the experience that you get. If you work with Fran, you're going to learn about that. You're going to be able to figure out, I'm assuming you do nutrition as well, along with the exercises. Did you want to tell the audience a little bit about how does your services go and what is entailed?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. So, basically, as always, we start off with a phone call because I think it's really important to talk to the person, to connect with them. I really believe, in an energetic connection. And like when we first talked, I was like, I love this person, like because just the way that it feels, right? And so we always have a conversation, just kind of what are people struggling with? Where are they? I don't believe that everybody is meant to work with me. There are some people that I know are meant to be with me and I can help them. And then there are other people that maybe I can help them, but it's just not a good connection. So we always have a connection. We talk about what's going on. Yeah. And then from there, I look at the 3 pillars. So the 3 pillars are movement, mindset, and nutrition. Okay. And so as we work together one-on-one, people will get a movement coaching with me. So they'll do some mobility work. They learn foam rolling, which I love foam rolling. Like I can talk about it for hours.
Right.
Right. So they learn about that. And then we do some mobility work. So it always depends on the person and it depends on where they are. So I had a client today that she's like, my pain today, I'm a 2 out of 10. I'm like, great. So do you want to do a little bit more? She's like, yes. So we did a little bit more, not a lot, just a little bit more. And then she's like, okay, I'm that's enough of that for me. And I'm like, perfect. We just switch to something else. So there's always the movement part.
Right.
Then we do the mindset part. So the mindset I find, and based on my own journey, and I know you know this, and everyone who's listening, who's done stuff and has been through this journey, is probably the hardest thing. The nutrition is difficult. The movement can be challenging because it might be new. But the mindset is the big part. So we talk about stress, we talk about time management, we do forgiveness, we do gratitude, we do sleep, we do all the things. So we go through a short little audit and sort of talk about where people are struggling. And then from there, I customize it. So if someone is if they sleep fine and they're not having any sleep issues, it's not necessarily a component that we're going to focus on in the time that we're working together. So it's a 12-week program with, of course, the option to continue based on where you are, because 12 weeks is a great foundation and it's a great way to hit a lot of the key things. But if you want to get a little bit deeper, and again, if you've done this work, I had this conversation yesterday, we're like an onion. It's a layer. You do one layer comes off and then there's another layer underneath, right? So, we kind of go at it piece by piece, and it just depends on the person on what they need when we have our coaching session. So there's a coaching session for training and movement, and then there's a coaching session which is like life coaching and what's going on and that mindset piece as well.
And then you're leaving them with a continued lifestyle because it's become inhibited in, making new habits and finding new ways to, deal with the pain. What was the biggest trigger, Fran, for you in your journey in finding, what worked for you and what didn't? Like physically, so you obviously got to exercise after eventually.
Yes.
So
yes.
I'd like to know about that. And then I'd like to know, like, food wise. Okay, you said gut health mostly, but what do you need to avoid?
Okay, yeah, sure. So, we call them the Furious Five. They're the biggest inflammatory foods that we have in life. So
Okay.
gluten,
Yes.
dairy,
Right.
soy, corn, and sugar.
Damn. It's all of them. That's in everything.
So, and the thing is, so I'm gluten-free and I am dairy-free, and because
Right.
that's what works for me, because I cannot tolerate gluten at all. I've been gluten-free for like, I'm gonna date myself here, for 30 years.
Whoa. That's
Yeah,
great.
I was gluten-free when like bread was like a brick. Like there, you just didn't eat gluten. So it was really easy to go gluten-free because everything that they made then tasted horrible. So you're like, I just don't eat it. So now
That's
it's
awesome.
much better. There's a lot better choices out there. But yeah, gluten is definitely an irritant. And dairy, those are probably the two biggest
Yeah.
ones.
I'd say do.
So they trigger me a lot.
Hmm.
Nightshades, so
Yeah.
peppers and tomatoes and eggplant, those kinds of things can also be triggers for people.
Really?
Yeah. So it's important so the thing I would say to people that you're listening, if you're trying to figure out what's happening with your pain, you need to do an elimination, and you need to really track your food,
Yes.
and track what the response is to the food. So for me, so for example, beef. Now I'm much better. I can eat beef. I don't eat a lot of
Right.
it, but I can. But previously when I ate it, that's when I would get the shooting pains that would cause it to happen again. So I know what my triggers are. So I just stay away from them.
Interesting.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of the thing to think about.
Yeah.
Triggering as far as exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't do typical exercise. Like I don't lift weights anymore. I miss it, but my body does not miss it at all.
Okay.
I do gentle stuff. I do qigong. I do kundalini yoga.
Mhm.
I do lots of foam rolling. So foam
That's
rolling is amazing for the
wow.
body.
Yeah. So you're
Yeah.
basically working on the nervous system, technically, more so than muscle. And then what can you do for cardio that's going to help you or help somebody with this condition?
Yeah, so I have a trainer set up in the garage with my mountain bike is just attached to it, and I just do that.
That's
Walking is
great.
fantastic.
Okay.
Like 2 years ago I trained for a half marathon, and I did mostly walking.
Amazing.
And
Love it.
so the thing is, you have to keep moving. Like that's the thing, is that people are like, I'm in pain. And that's where the cycle that's
Yeah.
what's happening, is that
No.
people are like, I'm in pain, I don't want to move. But the thing
Right.
is if you don't move, the blood flow doesn't get to the joints
That's
and keep
right.
everything active and moving.
Yes.
Right. So
Great.
I would invite people to then consider, okay, maybe it's not the movement that's the problem. It's the
Right.
food, it's the gut health, it's the mindset,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? If
Look
that
at the
makes sense.
awareness. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I love the idea of the foam roller because again, you're getting to the nervous system, the nerves that connect with the muscles and everything else,
Yes,
right?
yes, yeah, yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
And I
So
think, did I answer your question?
yeah, yeah, you did totally. Yeah, no, I wanted to know what your trigger was, and then
Oh,
you
yes.
eventually began to start exercising again
Mhm.
after the doctor said it was a-okay.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
And then you were able to eliminate all medications completely. So that's huge. That's
yep,
huge. I mean,
yep,
if you're helping people eliminate that, that's incredible. Like,
yeah, yeah. And the thing too about medication, and like I said, everybody's different, right? And for some people, you need the medication. So I'm not saying just stop taking it. Like I'm
uh,
not saying that, but
yeah,
there there is there needs to be a balance where you kind of investigate.
yeah,
This is my opinion. You
yeah,
investigate what is happening,
yeah.
because we know, energetically,
Hmm.
our energy is moving through our body.
Oh,
Okay. And if you have pain, or if you can't move your arm a particular way, you have a range of motion issue, that is blocked energy.
yes.
So you need to unblock that, whether you do acupuncture or you foam roll or you go have Reiki or whatever, get your chi cleared or whatever you want to do. There
Right.
are ways to do that. And I think that for many people, at least people that I'm talking to, they're now looking towards these other solutions
Yes.
to their pain problem. And there are other solutions to the pain problem.
Right.
I was just telling you, I did a 2-day course on
Yeah. That's great.
energy work for pain management. And this person has been doing it she did her thesis on it. She did her graduate thesis on it. She's been in this field doing it for 34 years.
Wow.
And she had back surgery. They fused some of her spine together. She was in pain, and they told her another operation. And she's like, no, I refuse. And so she started learning about energy and chi and how to move the body and clear it out. And she's been pain-free.
Do you know what, you know what the message is here? It's really finding inner peace.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I came to that realization in the last couple of years or so, working on myself and doing the growth mindset and all that. If you're not finding pure joy with your life and yourself and loving yourself completely, I mean, like body, mind, and soul,
yes,
you're going to experience the pain.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And pain that's been triggered from God knows how long, it can carry you through your whole life.
Yes.
And it can come and go.
Yes.
But my question to you is there, like, are you ever cured from fibromyalgia? Because my understanding is no.
You're never cured, and there's no real cause.
Yeah.
Like there's no real, like, it happens mostly to women. There are a few men that have it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if you're active or not. Like there's not really anything. So because for the longest time, everyone's like, it's this mystery disease. It doesn't really exist, and it's all in your head. And I know, having gone through it, there's no possible way that it was all in my head. Like it was physically manifesting. But exactly to what you said, it's all about the inside. It's all about what's happening here and here. Mm-hmm. And if you don't fix that or deal with that, you and you're right. You totally said it right, Sandra. You have to love yourself, who you are. Like people, I find, and this is the thing I find in the fitness industry in a lot of cases, not everybody, but there's this image of this person who is got a tiny little waist, and she's got perky little boobs, and she's got beautiful arms and a flat stomach, and her butt's awesome. There's no
ideal,
no nothing. And you know what? It's BS. I'm sorry, it's BS. And I have a high knee, man. I got booty. Okay. Yes. And I got big boobs. And you know what? I'm beautiful and I'm amazing. Yes. And you know, and for the longest time I never thought that, right? Because I was trying to fit into sort of this mold that society has created and it's not possible. Like if you know people that have been in the fitness industry, or if you know people, ask around and talk to people who have done competitions. Mm-hmm. And talk to them about what they suffered through. Horrible. It's a horrible thing.
Up, looking in the mirror, saying this is not perfect enough.
No. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't strive to be healthy, because I am healthy. I eat healthy, but I also, I eat a piece of cake. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's yummy when I eat it, right?
I eat the damn cake. That's
right. But it's really important to, you know, really be your authentic self. And, you know, I think that we should be teaching kids to do that.
Oh, yes.
We shouldn't wait till we're 40-year-old women that we have to fix everything. Right.
Oh, true.
And kind of go through the whole process. God, if we taught the kids that when they were younger, they wouldn't have to worry about that when they're 40, because they'd be living their amazing life in their 20s.
I totally
and loving themselves and not have to redo everything and undo everything in their 40s, right? So
what were you and I talking about before we got on? We were talking about how we have to portray ourselves sometimes on social media. Well, we shouldn't really worry about being so perfect, because if we're portraying that's already, you know, self-doubting ourselves. The imposter syndrome comes up. And what example are we sharing here, that life has to be so perfect in every angle? It's not.
Yeah, it's true.
We're all in this journey.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, you know, I when we were talking, if anybody who's watching saw my little live that I did, I'm like, I don't even know how to turn off the live now on Instagram anymore. And I'm just like, and you know, I love my people that follow me and watch, and it's like, we love you. And I'm like, yeah, I love you too, but I'm still live and I don't know how to turn it. Because that's what happens in real life. Like, what am I supposed to do? Right. Like, and I think that makes it, and I think that's what I would imagine. I know that's what draws people to you, to work with you, because you are you and you're real you. And with, you know, paint on your hands and whatever. And that's what people can relate to, right? And yes, there are other people who, you know, they look a perfect way and they always have their makeup done, and that's who they are, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that's not who I am, and that's not who I want to serve, because it's not a connection, which comes right back to that, you know, when I work with people, there has to be some kind of connection, right? And you have to feel like this is the person you're meant to work with.
I love that. And I love how people can they can kind of just lean into you on your expertise and know that somebody's there to hear them about their pain, right? Like that's so important, and that you're authentic in every way. So I love how you share that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I received that. Thanks.
He's the real deal, everybody.
Well, I like helping people. And I spent so many years in pain, and then I discovered all these other things. And it does really start with our mind and our thoughts. And man, like if you have negative thoughts, or you know, think that things aren't going to get better, they're just not, because that's your vibration. You're attracting all that to you. And if that's not what you want, you got to shift it. And it's hard, because I find that we are surrounded by negativity. A lot. And it's everywhere. Or we're surrounded, like you said, comparison or imposter syndrome, where I see all these perfect images on social media. And that's fine, but that's just what they put there. That's not the real life, right?
No.
And
it's pulling you down. Like you have to figure it out. Some days are going to be great. Some days aren't. This is a journey. It's your journey. And, you know, you seek out Fran, myself, and we help you through that journey because we figured it out.
Right.
And it takes work to figure it out.
Yeah.
But, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and the thing is, and I'm 100% certain that you would agree on this. You talk to people and you're like, yes, I can help you, or no, I can't, but I have the person for you. Like, and that's kind of how I feel. Like, that's what my perspective is. Just because I talk to somebody, I might not be able to help them. I mean, maybe I can, maybe I can't. I don't know, but maybe they need something else before me, maybe. Right? I have a large network of people that do all kinds of amazing things that I can be like, you know what? Maybe I can help you with this part of it. But there's another piece that I can send you to Sandra, or I can send you to this person, because we both have, like, we all have networks, and we're there to help our people be successful, whatever that looks like as success. And that's to refer. So yes, it doesn't mean, like, I know sometimes it feels like every trainer or everybody who works in the health and fitness industry, yes, I can help you. No, I can't help everybody.
Right.
I have an area of expertise that I specialize in, and that's what I want to do. But I know a whole bunch of other people that do other things that I can just say, nope, this is the person that you need, and connect you with that person. Right. And that's the beauty of all of us working together, right? And being in that sort of network, is that we can just say, nope, you need to be over here, or come back after you. Sandra needs to do her stuff with you and do the mindset and get that all sorted out, and get the soul working and doing the journey it needs to do, and then you move over here, right?
So I love how you have a niche and you really zoned in on that. And
thanks.
Is there other pain areas of pain that you deal with as well? Is it arthritis included? And
yes. I'm thinking about all my clients. Yes, I have clients that, you know, I have some clients that have fibro, I have some that have arthritis. I have some that don't have any diagnosis at all, but they're very active, and then they've been injured. So I do a lot. So, you know, one of my specialties, or my area of expertise that I really pride myself on, is that I am like a modification queen. So if you're like, I want to do this, but I can't because I have a bad shoulder. I'm like, oh, good, man. I'll give you a modification. Like I have a fitness class that I have twice a week, and I have, 4 ladies in the class, and like literally while I'm teaching, I'm like, okay, this is the exercise. And then you're going to do this, and you're going to do this, and you're going to do this, and you're going to do it this way. And so if you actually looked at the screen, you'd be like, no one is doing it. They're not doing the one that she just showed. Well, yes, they are, but everybody needs a different modification. So I really, one of my perspectives on things is there's always a way to do something.
Love it.
There's all, I have a woman
I
who's
agree.
76 years old,
Wow.
and she trains with me online twice a week.
That's amazing.
Yep. And
Wow.
she doesn't do, like, sometimes she lifts weights, sometimes we do
Yeah.
mobility.
It's all what you're feeling in the moment. What can you tolerate in the moment? I love that.
Yes. Yeah. So,
As long as you're kind of pushing yourself every single time,
right.
if you're not feeling it, don't put the pressure. Let it
Right.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's your journey, right? Like, and that's the thing. It's like, I might say, okay, this is what we're going to deal with today, whether it's
Yeah.
the training part or the coaching part. And then a client shows up and they're like, okay, this is what happened. Okay, then I guess we're going to focus on that,
Yeah.
because what I planned is not what's going to serve you well. So
Right.
why don't we deal with what we need to? Or today I can't do this exercise. Let's do this. No problem. We can
Yeah.
change it, right? It's not
Yeah.
set in stone. So yeah,
Good.
there's
That's
always,
great. So there's modifications. Amazing.
always.
Love it.
Mhm.
So how does one get a hold of you, Fran? What is to have
Yeah,
that?
so the best thing to do, well, so you can go to, so Insist on Fit is the name of the company. So it's www.insistonfit.ca. And there's a connection button there to set up a consult call with me, a connection call. And there's also, you can subscribe to my newsletter, which I send out every week. And there's always little tips and pieces of information there. You can find me, Fran Garton, on Instagram and on Facebook. And I also have a YouTube channel, and there's different things on there. There's some workouts, there's some foam rolling, there's some mindset stuff. So there's always little tips and things that I like to share with people. Lots of free content on there as well. So yeah, so people can just message me, and then we can set up a time to chat.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
well, I'll
easiest.
invite you actually to post your link in the comments below so that people can easily find you there, if that's cool with you. And then we can do it after this.
Yep.
Now, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then if not, I'm also going to post this on IGTV. So if you're on Instagram, I'll tag Fran there, and you'll be able to find her there and follow her. She's got amazing tips every week. So yeah,
I try to help. And if there's, for people that are watching this live or even doing the replay, if there's anything you need help with, like, I'll just reach out and ask. Like, I'm happy to help. And if I don't know the answer, then I will put you in touch with somebody else who can help you. Because the whole point is that we all are on the journey, but that we're going to be on a happy, healthy, enjoyable journey. Not one with suffering and pain and misery.
Exactly.
I don't know why anybody would choose that.
I know.
Right? So
we're already stuck in that in the world.
I know. And it's really hard, because if you're surrounded by people, and that's the thing, right? Like, if you're surrounded by people that are negative, it's really hard to kind of get out of the cycle.
Yes.
Or that don't understand what you're going through. And I think that's the other thing too, is if you have pain, or you have a situation or a condition or whatever you want to call it, and there are other people that know what you're dealing with, then you have someone you can talk to about it. And I think it's really important, because sometimes it's hard for friends and family to understand, because they're not in it, right?
That's
so
right.
You need support.
And maybe they're the problem. No, I'm just kidding. They could be.
It's possible. You never know.
Sometimes we got to clean out a little bit, out the junk.
Sometimes we do.
Right?
And, I think you experience it too, I'm sure, Sandra, as you're going through your journey. Sometimes we don't have to clean anything out. Sometimes they just fall away. As you're on your journey, it just doesn't match with them, and they just go away.
Yes, I've totally experienced that. So I totally get you on that. Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's for the best.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You need to free yourself and live for you.
Agreed.
Yeah. Well, it's been such a pleasure having you here. Such a natural conversation. Love it. There goes my beeper.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
You.
I hope it was helpful for people, and anything that I can do to help people, and I'm happy to help.
That's awesome. Well, thanks. You are the light of what people need today. So thank you
so much. Thank you.
Yeah, amazing. So feel free to reach out to Fran anytime, and she will drop her link below. Thank you for joining me this evening on Spice It Up with Sandra, and we will see you guys soon.
Bye. Thanks, Sandra.
Thank you.